Hey team, it's day 79, 11 days ago. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's get into the 6 goals, but first I want to go over what somebody asked. Which is better, machines or free weights when it comes to lifting weights? So I know we've talked a lot about resistance training and how it's an essential part of overall health as you get older, and you should mix that in as you get into your program, as you get into your lifestyle change. But let's go through that question, and I think you'll be pretty surprised at the answers. So first and foremost, day 79, I'm under 215 again. You know, it's only 0.2 more than the last time I was there, but I'm kind of yo-yoing around that 215, which I like. But in the same sense, it's like, man, I just need to continue to push that down. Still lifting strong, still lifting good weight, actually going up in some of my stuff. So that's a good thing as well. 1884 calories, a little low on that. 134 ounces of water, 7 hours, 60 minutes, 201 grams of protein. The 1884, what I was low on is the fat, which isn't all that good because that tends to make you a little hungrier, but I was tired, so I was able to go to bed earlier and get the 7 hours. So let's jump into this. Which is better, the machines or free weights? Now, for those of you that don't frequent gyms or haven't lifted a ton, what they call machine weights or free weights are basically weights that you pick up and put weights on the engine of a bar. So there's barbell and there's dumbbell. It's basically the pictures you see. I don't have any. I go to the gym to work out. You guys know that, so why would I have any here? But so basically the difference between free weights is they're the ones that kind of, you have to load up by yourself. You have to put the weight on by yourself on either side, or you pick up the different levels or weights of dumbbells, right? So the machines are basically like Nautilus or Lifestyle Fitness is another machines. Machines are basically things that have a pulley with them and a stack of weights that you can kind of select. It's either weights or they go by numbers, where each number is like 15 pounds or 10 pounds or however it is. And then you kind of have a restricted range of motion with everything that you can do. So what is better? And when I asked the question, I'm like, what's better? Well, I'm going to just assume that meant like, hey, what's better at building muscle? And I'm actually going to talk to you guys about from a kind of a beginner type level, person that's just getting into a program, hasn't lifted a whole lot, maybe is a little reluctant to go to the gym. Let's talk about it. So what is the benefits of machines, I would say, and free weights? Let's talk about the beginners first. So from a beginner perspective, I would say that, let's go here for the beginner. I would say that the machines, go with the blue on this to circle the winner. Machines would definitely be the one I would say from a beginner perspective, not necessarily building muscle, but yeah, for a beginner building muscle, because a lot of times the machines actually have pictures of the range of motion you're supposed to use, how you're supposed to set up the seat, if you're sitting down on it, just how you're supposed to set up everything to ergonomically match up with how you're supposed to lift. So there are like super good instructions for beginners right on the machines. And in order to build muscle, you have to progressively load up more over time for the muscle to build. So both of these, honestly, from a beginner perspective, can help you build muscle. The machines, on the other hand, the reason I would say that is just from an ease of use perspective, right? So ease of use. I always tell my beginners, you know, if you go into a gym with a machine set, and let's say you're on a full body regimen or a push-pull legs or a split regimen of upper body versus lower body, go in and find the machines that you're going to do and just identify those and use those same ones for about a month. I always say, you know, the first 4 weeks, get acclimated to the gym, get acclimated to the machines that you like best based on the body parts and you want to use. And I always recommend to ensure that you're hitting all the muscle groups. No matter if you want to target a specific one or not, make sure you're hitting them all. And free weights, they're just, what I would say is they're just a little more confusing. I would just not recommend for a beginner. Now, when alone, that's a big one. So if you have a trainer, if you have an accountability partner that's been in the gym or not, you know, free weights are just fine. But I would say for the beginner, the ease of use, I would say the machine is there. So secondly is from a free weight or machines perspective, we like to talk about machines for a beginner. We said it's not recommended alone for free weights, but then let's talk about just muscle building. And I think I mentioned that. So from a muscle building perspective from a beginner, I would say you would see roughly the same for both. Now, from the studies that I read around free weights versus machines, from muscle building, I'm just going to do this in a different color. For, I'll just call somebody advanced. This is where, gosh, that's getting a little cranky. I would say the free weights. Free weights can provide more range of motion or muscle activation. I think is roughly 30% in some things that I read. But overall, when you take a look at the difference between muscle building and just really capitalizing on that muscle activation, I like to use both. But when you just compare one against the other, the free weights do tend to win out because you can get a more range of motion. You can progressively load. There's just a lot of things you can do based on just muscle building needs, I guess, so to say. And the last thing I would say is, which is better, machines versus free weights? We can go with and this is the last one that I was kind of saying is from a efficiency perspective. I'll just go with beginner for this, like we're talking about, and efficiency for advanced. The only thing I would say is the efficiency for the beginner, I would say yes, this is definitely good. Efficiency for the advanced, I would just say same for both. And what do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is when you're looking at efficiency in a beginner, like it's basically moving from one place to the other. And inside of the machines, you basically have let's say for chest press, you basically have a seat you adjust, handles you make sure that are just above the nipples in the right spot. You can adjust your arms you want, and there's not a real risk for going outside of your range of motion or potentially injuring yourself. So a beginner, it's kind of nice to get used to the range of motion of squats, chest, back, legs, hamstrings, shoulders, whatever else you do. It's good to use those for a beginner to kind of move from machine to machine to really get used to the overall movement of the different muscle groups. Now, when you talk about the efficiency of an advanced lifter or somebody that's been in there for a while, that's why I say both. I can flip through machines or free weights just as easy as both because I already know what I want to do with the program and I've got used to it. That's what I always tell my beginners. Start with the machines if you're alone. If you have a coach, it doesn't really matter. Your coach will probably actually vary you between machines and free weights. So overall, it's not a solid answer for muscle activation. The solid answer is free weights for muscle activation and the different amounts of range of motion you can get in there to build your muscle. But overall, I like to use both. And I would say if you're a beginner, definitely start with the machines because it's much easier to feel like you belong in that gym because there's instructions right there. You don't really have to go up and ask anybody. You'll get used to being in that gym. Make sure you do some research on maybe what exercises to do. Or the nice thing is you can ask anybody who works at that gym to just, for a little assistance. And all of us that are around who knows who the new lifters are and things, we're more than happy to help. It happens on a daily basis. And you know what? I'm starting to see more people helping others in the gym as there seems to be kind of a shift for that younger generation to, be more actively involved and have the active lifestyle. And maybe it's just younger people. It seems younger people to me because I'm old. But anyway, other than that, I would say if you're a beginner, start with free weights, but machines. Other than that, I use both, so I would say pretty much the same. The free weights do win though on overall muscle activation. So hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions, let me know. Things like this is what I'm trying to do over these last 20 days or so, just answer questions that I've heard from my followers and just people that I've come in contact with or people that I'm coaching, and do my best to provide the content or a possible answer. So if you have any more questions on this one, leave them in the comments. If you have any more ideas for the next 11 days of content, let me know, and we will get to that in a subsequent video. But as always, I appreciate your support and look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Thanks again.